No matter what sort of esports or sports that you're watching, we can all pretty much agree that from the butt crack of dawn of any sort of events, that what makes these occasions truly special are the crowd. No matter how insane a play is, it will never beat one that has the whole crowd roaring at the moment of its conception.
The nemesis, but does he anticipate this? Yes, he does! Movement sublime!
He's at half-bell shot! Take it to goal! He gets the goal of his lifetime!
Here to block them off with a smoke waiting. Cajun goes down the alley again. He does it with a third coming in. And that's that quad kill. Welcome to the Watersport apocalypse.
So it kinda concerns me when the upcoming Valorant Masters event decided to nestle itself in good old Shanghai. Considering the fact that it's literally coming by in a couple of days, depending on when this video is out, I've got one huge concern that I've noticed from other esports that had major events in China that I sorely hope will rid itself for this particular event. That concern being the crowd itself. To give you guys a bit of a clearer picture, especially for the ones who's been following VCT from years prior, the Chinese crowd is essentially the Asian version of the Brazilians from the 2023 Sao Paulo locked-in Grand Finals. Let's just say that they are more passionate when it comes to supporting their home teams, and obviously there is nothing wrong with that. It's always a great thing to see when home crowds try to rally their homegrown teams, especially when they were massive underdogs in their particular matches, like CSGO's Virtus Pro when they had to face NIP, who were the best team in the world at the time back in the 2014 EMS1 Katowice Grand Finals.
Here's plenty for a player like Neo! Big threat headshot onto fifth Laren. Neo's 4 health points are going to be tested now by Forest. 1 on 2. Two of these biggest players of the game. Neo gets the hat-trick. I do not believe it!
Or Cloud9 versus FaZe at the 2018 Boston Major Grand Final.
But look at the time! Look at the time! There's 7 seconds to got the bomb! They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play! Stewie's running around! We're going to...
However, the massive double-edged sword that comes with a crowd that can support their home team so passionately is that the same bout of passion can't really be found when it comes to being neutral and just cheering for a game between other teams that don't involve a home favorite. And it's even worse to see that there are many occasions where the venue itself becomes borderline dead. A couple of massive examples that I can think of is one from the 2022 IEM Rio CSGO Major. Let me show you 2 clips, and particularly for those of you who don't follow the CSGO events, tell me which one of these 2 clips sounded like they were done in the Grand Finals and which one is not within the Grand Finals.
Time-sensitive mission. Kit picked up. Oh, spots them both. Eliminates one. Fame holding his nerve in his first major.
He's lost him.
He's completely lost him. Fame evaporates the invisible man. Clutching up for the outsiders with pinpoint precision.
Mistiming shot for Saban now. Drop's got to be the one to deal with it. They're up close. They're right here.
Oh, hold the line, but there is another man coming at him fast through. Sure. Drop drops the bomb. And now the alarm bells are going off, but Drop's unrelenting. He just won't give up. Oh!
By pure atmosphere alone, then you wouldn't be faulted to think that the second clip had been the one I was looking for. But in reality, that first clip between Outsiders and Heroics was indeed the Grand Final match. Yet it was so much more subdued from its previous rounds because of the fact that the home crowd had no more home teams to cheer for. The other clip showcased the last hope that they had within that tournament, which is Furia, the Brazilian team that defeated Na'Vi in that quarterfinals match, only to fall to Heroics in the semis. This shift to silence will be very reminiscent of the 2023 Sao Paulo lock-in event for you Valorant fans, especially considering how quiet it had been when Boaster gave his famous post-game interview.
We were just half an hour ago we were 11-2 down or something and I was thinking, oh no.
I bring up the Brazilians not only because they are the spitting image of how the Chinese crowds would sound like when it comes to supporting their homegrown teams, but also to provide a more relevant example to what VCT events had experienced before. Providing a better example for our Asian counterparts, however, we'll have to shift our attention to Dota 2 instead. Considering the fact that CS itself hasn't had that many events in China, and there's really no one for the Chinese crowd to wholly root for. In Dota, however, China had always been a juggernaut of a region from the early days of its esports conception. Not only did they have a massive player base in that region, but they've had teams that would absolutely dominate entire seasons and would normally fight for wins in the international, arguably the biggest tournament in the whole of esports, against their Western nemesis. So when TI9 in 2019 rolled around and it landed itself in Shanghai at the Grand Mercedes-Benz Arena, many were expecting for the event to have an electrifying atmosphere throughout the course of its 5-day schedule. And in all fairness, for the better part of the tournament, the atmosphere of the main stage was just exactly as people expected. Undeniably electric.
The control, he time walks out of there, but now the turnaround, mid one coming through with the does it to him. Almost any armor and now has the Vlad's at least finished up, but Ramsey's fairly squishy. Ramsey's
Gonna get arrowed here as he stands.
They're throwing everything.
Ramsey's dead. He doesn't have buyback. No one's trying to fight back here. As he pops
But then again, the caveat remained clear. During these periods of the event, the Chinese crowd still had a team that they were ready to throw their full support at, which is the ever-dominant PSG LGD squad. They knew that as long as the Chinese hope was still there, they can still enjoy the event and bring any level of support to the rest of the matches. Though of course, they would remain loudest when PSG LGD had been playing. They were only closely beaten in the grand finals of their previous TI through what many considered as the biggest one-in-a-million miraculous esports fluke, which is OG's Cinderella TI8 win. And with OG itself looking like a median team coming into TI9, while the whole of LGD seems to be firing on all cylinders, it seemed as if the stars finally aligned and the crowd was more than ready to cheer their team all the way to at least the grand finals and see an epic showing at the final day of the event. However, it didn't exactly go quite the way the crowd had thought to be. OG, the team that had denied them their previous TI and had looked extremely non-threatening before the event, suddenly displayed one of the most dominant TI performances ever seen in the history of the event, thanks to their ingenious IO carry strat.
But for what avail? Nothing is really going here, and Thompson, he's the man that's going into the fountain once again!
They then knocked PSG LGD down to the lower brackets after another tight series in the upper bracket finals, with another one of their signature combos, the Chen Alchemist strat, proving far too strong for the Chinese team to withstand.
Pressure on him, press the attack though, helping him out, Earth Splitter. Oh, but they caught the duel! They caught him, man, he's dead for 2 minutes! The volley's coming in, but it's not good enough! Now, the physical OG in the upper bracket finals bring down LGD!
For the crowd, however, it definitely wasn't the end. PSG LGD was in this exact same position last year, so they thought they'd be able to climb back up to the grand final bracket by winning their lower bracket final match and once again, meeting OG. But the team that awaited them down there was none other than the hot-running Team Liquid, the champions of TI7 and the team that had been grueling through the entire lower bracket segment of the tournament, with Dota legend Kuroki at the helm and arguably the greatest individual player in the history of Dota, Miracle, being their superstar carry. The match itself went about as normally as it could. LGD comfortably won Game 1, while Liquid pulled it back through an insane comeback in Game 2. And with LGD's normally solid mid laner, Somnus, on a bold and brave Shadow Fiend pick on the final game, the crowd was more than ready to see the repeat of the last TI and see LGD through to the grand finals. Only to have it all go oh so wrong.
The three heroes wind up, but no! The curse! GH was there! He'll stop the ball, the BT and then mind control! It's the Ravage and everyone has arrived! Team Liquid!
That was a play that LGD weren't able to fully recover from for the rest of the game. Even though they showed glimpses of chances throughout the rest of the game, their efforts were inevitably insufficient and was overpowered by Miracle's exemplary rate king jumps and Liquid's overall team play in general.
The onus is on LGD to do something, and maybe not. Miracle, he jumps in, Somnus explodes! You thought Liquid were gone!
In the end, Liquid ran them down and thus eliminated the last Chinese team in the event, alongside vaporizing Chinese hopes of reclaiming the Aegis for that year. This left the tournament with a grand final that featured no Chinese teams in a Shanghai-based event. And as the previous parts of the video had gone, y'all can probably guess what ended up happening in the finals.
Falling low, GH cannot save him. We are in dead. OG, they'll hold on to the game. They may have lucky. They jump over, catch out mind control, and they'll also toss back in GH as OG. They just keep killing.
Soulbline's going to lock the two of them down together as No-Tail's looking to turn, moves in with the silence. The double free, both dead.
The Ravage comes out.
Yep, a relatively dead final. It was loud for only a few segments of the match because the crowd were basically rooting against OG, so everything big that Liquid did was met with relatively decent cheers. Unfortunately for the crowd, what followed after Liquid's Game 1 victory was just an absolute dismantling of the Liquid side from OG, and the crowd really didn't have much more to cheer for during the rest of these games. Which is just such a shame because the level of Dota displayed during those rest of the games were just mind-boggling from that OG side. All of which went underappreciated just because a crowd couldn't foster enough respect to just cheer for the game that they're watching instead of being hell-bent and making sure that the better team was having a rough time when it comes to crowd support. And for those of you who are listening to the sound of the crowd from the clips that I've shown you just now, you might think, that didn't sound too bad. But compare those clips to moments that you get from the previous TI8 final.
The challenge. Oh, tries for it, but he's not going to get it in. Oh, straight in. They get the two and the slam. Can he do it here? He's at half health. Take it to goal. He gets the goal. And Arme's dead for 60. Still alive at the moment. And all the use. The dodge. And up into the end. Dodging the end.
They have done it.
Done it. The power of flowers and friendship.
Then it just doesn't compare. This is all important for me to say in order to justify my concerns about the Chinese crowd. Because it would be easy to dismiss the concerns if Valorant had the same situation as CS where there aren't enough Chinese representatives for them to actually be biased for. But Valorant has teams like EDG and FPX who are at times serious contenders when it comes to these global VCT events. So if they root their asses off for those teams, and then they ended up getting knocked out somewhere in the middle of the playoffs, will we then have a repeat of what has happened with all those Dota events? Will the crowd finally be able to remain neutral and actually cheer for the game itself when their home teams are done and out? Because I'm not saying that it's not okay for them to be upset that their home teams lost. That's completely understandable. But I'm saying that it's not an excuse for them to then just show such lack of respect for the teams that are actually trying to not only win, but give them a good show. And quite frankly, this is where I think the players of those respective regions should be able to speak up and address their crowds, because it's clear that home crowds are able to show respect when their home players urge them to do so. A great example of this is how the Polish crowd acted in CSGO's 2014 Katowice Major and 2015 Cologne Major. In 2014, the home team filled with Polish legends Virtus Pro were able to win the major, and the crowd was able to show great respect to their opponents after the match. Meanwhile, the following year, the Polish fans were plentiful in Cologne and booed fanatics Olofmeister, who was trying to give the post-match interview after they've knocked out VP in a close semi-final match.
It was emotional to watch. What was it like to play? Come on, there's only great games here. We don't have booing in esports. No booing in esports. Olaf talked to me.
But instead of letting his fans' behavior slide, Taz, the then captain of VP and one of the Polish CS scene's most revered and respected figures, stepped up to the mic to give his fans a piece of his mind.
Guys, please respect for the finalists, second finalists, please respect them.
Amazing words from Taz, amazing words. That's what makes this sport great.
And the Polish fans promptly understood their place.
Being so awesome.
This shows that there are ways of making sure that fans keep a modicum level of respect when things aren't going their way. But then again, it all comes down to the types of crowds these people will be playing in front of. Brazilians and Chinese fans are crazy patriotic when it comes to supporting their teams, and it verges on the borderline extreme. or even for some people, it is extreme. And to be fair, I'm no stranger to seeing such extreme levels of patriotism being shown from national fans either. I am Indonesian, and Indonesian fans are also particularly crazy when it comes to supporting sporting teams and players such as in football or in badminton. But I also wish that sometimes we can show much more respect to the game itself when we don't get the results that we want. Always so much blaming the opponents and the system and complaining about it instead of accepting the fact that sometimes it just had been a great game and maybe it's better off for us to just respect the other players and the game instead. In any case, I do hope that the Shanghai crowd will be able to deliver this time around. Yes, it is undoubted that the Chinese crowd can provide a good show, but the caveat being that they need one of their home teams to still be in the tournament makes it really hard for me to really advocate for events to be played in their home soil. Because until they are able to respect the other teams that are playing in the match and cheer for a good game regardless of who's playing, then there will always be something missing from the crowd should Riot decide to return to playing events in this region, should this coming VCT Shanghai prove to be another crowd disaster. Anyway, that's just about all I have to say for this particular video. Good luck to anyone who's rooting for a team in Shanghai, and hopefully we get a very good event coming our way. Do leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, and feel free to leave a dislike if you don't. And I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comments down below. Until then, my name's Liffy, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Sayonara.